What's up everyone, Yang here. Today we're going to go through how to automate your Twitter with AI. So we're going to be using make.com for this automation. So for those of you who can't code, don't worry. This tutorial is for everyone. Everyone should be able to follow along. Awesome. Now, before we jump into make.com, I just wanted to share the overall approach or the overall framework that we'll be following for this automation. And we start with research. And research is usually the first step in any sort of content production workflow. And the reason for that is if you are making content, whether with AI or not, you usually start with some research. You need to find the news, the information, the knowledge that you're going to include in your content. And this doesn't change just because you're using AI. In fact, it's even more important to do so. So once we've done this research, we've got all the information, news, the knowledge that we need, we then pass it into the large language model. And that's where we do the generate, so step 2. And once we've done that, then we then pass the generated tweet, the generated content, to Twitter to post it. Awesome. So it's just 3 steps, relatively straightforward. Let's get into the workflow. This is my automation in make.com. I'm going to go through each of these steps one by one, just to make sure that you can follow along. But if you do have any questions or you run into any problems, feel free to leave a comment below and I'll try my best to get back to you. So what we're going to be building today is an automation for my Twitter account. So for my Twitter, I usually tweet about AI, and one thing I tweet about a lot is recent AI news. So what I do is I look at a couple of different AI news sources, sort of synthesize them and then turn it into a very short tweet on like what happened today in AI. So for the purposes of this, let's go through the 3 steps that I just mentioned. So step 1 is research, and this is what these first 4 blocks are for. So what I'm doing here is going to 2 different data sources that I refer to. So these first 2 blocks are for Ben's Bytes, which is kind of like a Reddit or a Hacker News for AI. What we're going to do is scrape this page and take the top couple of items to then pass into the AI to generate the tweet. So to do that, we use these 2 blocks. So the first block is the HTTP block, which will make a fetch request to Ben's Bytes. And to do that, it's very simple. Paste in the URL, set the method to get, and we'll get the HTML back. Once we get the HTML back, we need to turn it into text. And technically, you don't need to do this, but you get much better results when you do this. And the reason for that is, 1, if you're passing in all the HTML, there's just a lot of noise. There's a lot of random text that is not useful to the AI. And 2 is it just costs more because you're spending a lot of tokens on not very important stuff. So I just pass in the HTML and turn it into text. Second piece here is pulling from Reddit. So this is the r/artificial subreddit. And I've filtered down to the news flare to see what the top news items are for the day. I actually usually refer to a couple of other subreddits, but just to keep this workflow a bit simpler, I'm just going to use this one. A trick that not many people know about is you can turn any subreddit into an RSS feed. So to do that, just put in RSS and bam, the subreddit is a RSS feed. So we take this URL, go back into our automation, use the RSS block, put in the URL and return the top 10 items in the news flare for that subreddit. Once we've done that, we actually need to use this tools block to turn the 10 different items into one string. So what happens is this RSS block returns the top 10 items, but the 10 items are separate. We need to put it all into one string to then put into the prompt for the AI. So that's what this block is for. So these are the 4 blocks that give us sort of the information that we then pass into AI. You'll see here I have 2 AI models. Anthropic as well as OpenAI or ChatGPT. Over the past few weeks, I've actually found that Anthropic Claude with their new Claude 3 models actually gives much better results than ChatGPT and OpenAI models, and is actually cheaper as well, which is why I'm using it here. But I've left OpenAI here just to let you know if you want to use them, you can use them too. It's much the same. So to configure this, it's pretty, I'd say, straightforward. I'm using the Haiku model, which is the smallest but fastest and cheapest model in the Claude 3 series. just because I've tested the models and I can get good results with the cheapest one, so why not use that? For max tokens, I've set it to 150 just because I want the tweets to be quite short, and as you know, Twitter has a character limit, so if your AI model generates too long of a tweet, it's just going to fail. And then I have my messages here, but before I go through the messages I pass in, I'm going to go through to the system prompt. So most of the later, or the more up-to-date language models will have a chat interface, which means they have a system prompt, which you can think of as giving the AI model a personality. So here I'm saying, you are a social media manager managing my Twitter account, post informational tweets in a conversational tone. And then here I've given it an example of what I want. So I want AI news for a certain date, and then emoji. Roughly, this is the format I want, and then I give it some other information on what I'll be giving it, what not to do, what to do, that sort of stuff. So here I've said don't use hashtags just because I think they come across a bit scammy on Twitter, but obviously that's a taste thing. If you want to use hashtags, feel free to do so. You'll see here I'm using what are called XML tags. So this is a quirk, I guess, for Anthropic and Claude models. They do a lot better when you use these XML tags to break up your prompt. So if you're using OpenAI, you don't need to do this, but if you're using Anthropic, this is a good tip to keep in mind. So next is the actual message I'm passing in. So I'm passing in today's date because I want to use that in the tweet. Then I have the information I pulled from Ben's Bytes, and then information I pulled from Reddit, and I've wrapped them in XML tags just to make it easier for the model to understand. And after that, I should have my tweet, and I pass it into Twitter to then hopefully post that tweet to Twitter. Cool, so let's run through that and see if that all works. So now I'm fetching from Ben's Bytes, Reddit, passing it into AI model is generated, post it to Twitter. So let's see what the AI model generated this, which looks pretty good. So yeah, today is the 6th of April. It's pulled out, the main news pieces. It's not bad. Let's see if it actually posted to Twitter. So it's ticked here. You'll see this is a test run I did earlier, but let's refresh the page. And yeah, it posted again 25 seconds ago. I'm going to delete the second one just because I already posted today and I don't want to spam my followers, but we know that it works now, which is great. So I run this one on a daily basis because it's daily AI news, but depending on what you're tweeting, what content you're putting out, you could change the schedule. You could do it every hour, every 2 hours, whatever you want. And you turn on the schedule and it'll just continue running. So yeah, that's basically it for today. If you have any questions, thoughts, feedback, let me know. I also have a similar automation for my own research purposes. So I have an email that I receive every morning that has like the latest news and research on the topics I'm interested in, just to help me stay up to date without needing to sort of visit 100 different sites. If you're interested in stuff like that, or you have any other ideas for what I should automate next, just leave a comment below and I can make a video on it. But yeah, that's all I have for today, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.